Last October, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, emailed State Department colleagues with a firm message: "Don't second-guess the Israeli military." State Department officials had recently asked U.S. embassies in the Middle East to more carefully examine American military assistance to governments in the region, including Israel. The goal was to ensure the department wasn't violating a law barring U.S. security aid to foreign military units that commit serious human rights abuses. Some Democrats in Congress have questioned whether Israel's military, which receives an annual $3.1 billion from the United States, more than any other nation, might be guilty of human rights infractions against Palestinians. Friedman dismissed the possibility. In the email to colleagues, he rejected the idea that his embassy needed to enhance its scrutiny of military aid, saying he did not believe we should extend the new guidelines to Israel at this time. Israel is a democracy whose army does not engage in gross violations of human rights, Friedman wrote, adding that Israel has a robust system of investigation and prosecution in the rare circumstance where misconduct occurs. Besides, he added, it would be against U.S. national interests to take a step that could limit Israel's access to military equipment, especially in a time of war. Several months later, Israeli forces are under harsh international scrutiny for killing scores of Palestinians during border protests in the Gaza Strip. Friedman has rejected charges that Israel used excessive force. Israeli officials insist they acted with restraint against violent provocations. Friedman's email, part of a chain shown to Politico by a former State Department official familiar with the issue, offers a glimpse into the worldview of one of President Donald Trump's most influential, and controversial, ambassadors. Along with other anecdotes about his tenure, it suggests that the blunt-spoken former Trump bankruptcy lawyer sees his host country, which he has long considered a second home, as virtually beyond reproach. It also underscores the stark pro-Israel tone of Trump's foreign policy as the president works to devise a proposal for a long-elusive Middle East peace. It has been a busy spring for the 59-year-old Friedman. Last month, he attended the opening ceremony for the first U.S. embassy in Jerusalem, opened by Trump despite furious criticism from Palestinian officials. Sources say Friedman played a key role in persuading Trump to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital and relocate America's embassy there from Tel Aviv. Friedman was in Washington this past week for White House meetings about an Israeli-Palestinian peace plan that Trump's team may unveil this summer, and he is expected to be joined in Israel next week by Trump's son-in-law and advisor, Jared Kushner, and another top Trump aide, Jason Greenblatt, for talks with Israeli officials. To supporters, Friedman is a valuable emissary to a welcoming Israeli government. Ambassador Friedman has done a terrific job and is widely respected across the political spectrum in Israel, said Ron Dermer, Israel's ambassador to the United States. Israel's leaders appreciate his close relationship with President Trump and know that he speaks to and for the president in a way that perhaps none of his predecessors did. He is not a career diplomat. He doesn't fall into the trap of diplomatic speak, said Matt Brooks, executive director of the Republican Jewish Coalition. The only thing you can accuse David Friedman of is speaking truthfully. If that offends people, so be it. But critics say Friedman champions a right-wing agenda that doesn't reflect broad opinion in either the United States or Israel itself. And they warn that his hard line toward the Palestinians and reflexive defense of Israel's security forces is making a peace agreement harder than ever to achieve. We could never really imagine that Mr. Friedman could play any positive role, said Saeb Erekat, chief negotiator for the Palestinian Authority. A direct line to Trump State Department officials who work on Israeli-Palestinian issues declined to comment for this story. But Politico spoke to nearly a dozen former State Department officials, congressional staffers and human rights activists, among others, for a sense of how Friedman operates. Friedman grew up in an Orthodox Jewish community in Long Island, earned a law degree from New York University and became a bankruptcy law expert who represented Trump when his Atlantic City